Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. Today, we complete our spiritual semesters. We started on September 11th. Today is May 18th. We completed our autumn semester, our spring semester. This is 32 weeks on, 20 weeks off during the summer. I'm encouraging all of you to orient your schedule to be part of our courses that will start on September 10th. Lovely courses like on Tuesday evenings, we will explore how to practice devotion through the Narada Bhakti Sutra. On Thursday evenings, how to practice reflection through the Yaksha Prashna from the Mahabharata. When I was living in the ashram, we got to be with Pujaswami Tejomayananda at least 4 times a day. 3 classes, 1 meal. What our community is trying to do is trying to create this ashram feel where we see each other every morning. We see each other every evening. If this is scary, I will know you will not register. But if you're resonating with what I'm sharing, then you'll join a course. Registration will start on Independence Day, August 15th. Pujaswami Tejomayananda has shared, knowledge is big. If you can think of all you can know, it's big. To know what fertilizer to use, to know the density of oxygen on Mount Everest. Knowledge is big. Life is short. I was describing getting older and dying yesterday. It is shocking to know how many days of meaningful mornings have passed. When you think about your life, I think you're shocked at how the years, decades, for some of you centuries have passed. And so, one should live by the essence. Knowledge is big, life is short. Live by the essence of knowledge. Know that which will make you feel complete. Living here means study the sara means essence, and discipline your life to follow this sara. I am thinking a lot about Pujaswami Tejomayananda as another year of courses is completed. And I was thinking about how he would feel about meaningful mornings. Is this offering, is this community aligned with his teaching of knowledge is big, life is short, live by the essence. Divinity is in the details. Just like food is better when there's subtle spices, when there's subtle lighting, most definitely this applies to scripture. In chapter 7, verse 5, Shri Krishna explained to Prince Arjuna what apara prakriti is. And he knew that Prince Arjuna didn't understand that in chapter 7, that he needs to be more ready. So he brought this train of thought back in chapter 13. What is the apara prakriti from chapter 7 in chapter 13? He uses the word prakriti. This expresses as the kshetra. This is felt as the body. Divinity is in the details. Shri Krishna loves you, which is why he doesn't leave you confused. In chapter 7, verse 5, he explains para prakriti. In chapter 13, the term is purusha, which expresses as the kshetrajna, which is felt as the ego. The lowest aspect of us is the body. Higher here means more subtle, causal, is the ego. The body depends on the ego does not depend on the body. Makes sense. And Shri Krishna has shared, Vidhi, you should know, guna, the qualities of the body and ego, and that they are changing, and that you are more than the body and ego. This is a constant and comprehensive teaching of Shri Krishna. In chapter 10, he told us, we are great and you are great. To be able to even hear the word Krishna requires you to be great. I think there's more than 8 billion people in the world. How many hear the words like Krishna, joy, and so on? But in chapter 10, Shri Krishna shares, you are great, but look at the greatest. And the implied message of that is, there is more than the greatest, there is God. In chapter 11, Shri Krishna shifts from unity and diversity is the greatest, but beyond that is diversity in unity. There is more than unity and diversity. That's why I stopped describing Holi, the celebration of Holi, as unity and diversity. I've changed the messaging to its diversity in unity. I'm going to say that again in case I was unclear. Usually we celebrate Holi as unity and diversity, but beyond that is diversity in unity. There is more than the body and ego. Jnana, that is one of the questions of Prince Arjuna's. What is knowledge? And Shri Krishna shares, being ready to know that there is more than the body and ego is jnana. This is us practicing the means to get to what is that more. In the world, we would describe this as EQ. And the 6th question was, what is jnaya? What is to be known? What is to be known is that more. More than the body is the ego. What is more than the ego? You have to be virtuous to know what is more than the ego. And what is more than the ego? It is existence. This is the ends. In the world, we would call this as SQ. Coming back to verse 22, Shri Krishna describes what this more is. He applies labels like upadrashta, the one who is seeing from a higher vantage point. Simply the observer. Then anumanta, the one who gives permission. Another, bharta, the one who supports or nourishes. For us, a word could be the doer. The ego is not the doer. What is more than the ego is the doer. Then naturally, bhokta, the one who enjoys or deserves. Who's the deserver in living? Not the ego. Maheshwaraha. I've described to you what Ishvara is. Part of Ishvara is Nigraha, the one who corrects, and Anugraha, the one who conserves. And finally, Paramatma, the one who's inside of you and more. All of these words, they're systematically shared from least involved to most involved. Upadrashta, that more is 0% involved in Purusha and Prakriti. But as the words go on, the one who gives permission is 20% involved. The one who's the doer, 60%. The one who's the, sorry, I meant 40%. The one who's the deserver is the one who's involved 60%. Maheshwara is involved with us 80%. And Paramatma, that's you, is involved 100%. Did you figure that out? I don't think so, but I didn't either. That's why we need a guide to study Bhagavad Gita. I only know that because of Puja Swami Tejomayananda. He only knows that because of Puja Swami Chinmayananda. See, there's the system to know that there's more than you. You have to keep withdrawing from being involved with the body, the ego. You all know there's more than the body and ego. Follow that more. This will make you a superior seeker for yourself. So many of us, we feel there's more, but then we get into this practicality mode. But what will my family say? What will I do if I make less money? That's the trade-off you're willing to make for being free. It requires courage to just, I feel this, I'm going to follow this. It is not a matter of logic. It is a matter of faith. Today, in our Practices to Perfection course, one of the questions I'm going to ask, I'm giving you the question in advance, okay, everyone? What makes some believe in God and others not? And the answer is punya and kripa. Please reflect on that. Next verse. Ya evam veti purusham prakritim cha gunai saha sarvata vartamanopi nasabhuyo bhijayate. Joy. Yaha means you. Evam, thus or indeed, veti, know, Purusha and Prakriti. What is Purusha? That is spirit. What is Prakriti? That is matter. But then he says, Gunaihi, with their qualities. And that's why I had shared that Purusha is, there's a lower form with qualities, and then there's a higher form without qualities. Matter is the experienced, and spirit is the experiencer. Yesterday I'd shared, if the problem is attachment, which it is, then the solution is assessment. Assess that there is a difference between experiencer and experienced. I will share more details about that tomorrow. I have lots to share in this completing thought. Sarvata vartamanopi, however you are living, vartamanaha. Right now, we are living by raga, and so there is vasana. But Shri Krishna is sharing here, Even if you're living by raga and vasana, if you differentiate, that means you are no longer the one who owns this attachment, this print. Nasa bhuyaha abhijayate. This knowing, this differentiating will result in never being born again. One will never experience finitude ever again. Final reflection. I have no medical training whatsoever, but I'm just going to put this out there. For one who is clinically depressed, it is very difficult for them to use their thoughts. I interact with a lot of people who are clinically depressed, and it's very difficult for them. If you compare yourself to them, you feel like you're enlightened. Right now, you can use your thoughts. You're reading, writing, reflecting. But compared to your potential, which is to be free, infinite, we are depressed. Depressed from our potential. Reflect lots on that, because I find for many of us, this idea of not being born again, the teaching of being infinite, we can't orient ourselves to that. So I'm giving you a secular comparison. From inspiration to application. Your application yesterday was to reflect on what are you practicing from this chapter. You can share in the chat. What I am is I'm not allowing others' emotions to pull me down. If someone doesn't like the way I teach, if someone doesn't prefer the way I interact, but I feel this is me following them more, I'm not letting their emotions pull me down. That's not the right opportunity cost for me. Your application for this morning is to register for our Swatantra Guide, our independent study group on living the Gita. Meaningful Mornings will be completed in 2 weeks. Our first Swatantra Guide on living the Gita, our study group, will commence in 2 weeks. I will be supporting this. Do register for this and spread the word. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be joy.